good to be seen and not viewed.
In the name of Jesus, okay? Yes, Lord. And Pastor Halton I should have dropped the okay, great. Okay, can you all see my screen okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Normally we make it 6:05, so we're doing good today, 6:03. So next month we're going to aim for that 6 o'clock. So we're going to officially call our DFW Metro NAACP meeting to order. We will start that at 6:03. So welcome to our meeting. Those of you that are just now joining, and we definitely pray for those that are in the process of coming, and we will greet our visitors formally in just a moment. So, but welcome. We're absolutely peacock proud, as my pastor would say, and honeymoon happy to see each and every one of you. Those 30 days since last month, or however many days it has been, seems like an eternity. So I'm excited as always to be here with you all. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Oh, just a second. Okay, and we are going to have our opening prayer by Pastor Marcus Halton. And before he starts his prayer, I would like for us to take a moment of silence for and give 3 seconds of silence for Colin Powell, our former Secretary of State. And then Pastor Halton, if you could start us off with prayer after we have our moment of silence.
Certainly. Amen. Father, thank you for allowing us another opportunity to gather, even via technology. Thank you for the successful day that we've had thus far. Thank you for protecting us and for keeping us, even in spite of everything that we've been through.
Yes, Lord.
We ask, God, for your continued power as we fight against the injustices of our country that are in our country, God, that still prevails in our country, the evil that is still stained within this country, God. We ask that you continue to empower us as we fight, as we give our lives, as we dedicate our time to this struggle, God. We know that you empower people. And so as you empower people, God, we know that you can empower us to continue on in this fight. We ask that you empower this meeting and be with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Give me 1 second to change something up real quick. We are going to do things. I know I sent an agenda to our speakers today. I'm changing it up just slightly, just a little bit. Okay. So we are actually going to go ahead and have our welcome at this moment. So if this is your first time joining us during one of our meetings, please let us know. We want to say hello to you, so definitely let us know. Now, everybody, some of you are new today. Y'all don't be shy. Say hello.
I'm definitely new. This is Tristan. I'm new. This is my first meeting. I appreciate the opportunity to speak and appear.
Awesome. Thank you, Tristan. And you all, we're praying that she becomes a member of DFW Metro NAACP. So we definitely, Dr. Henderson and myself will make sure to try to get her to migrate on over and be a part of our family officially. Anybody else, if this is your first meeting and you want to say hello and let us know that it's your first meeting, please feel free to do so.
Hello, everyone. This is my first meeting, and I'm just happy to be here. I look forward to everything that's coming as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pastor Halton. And then y'all see how we work. People come in like Tristan, this is her first meeting and she hadn't even joined yet and she's already on the schedule. Pastor Halton, he joined via the main website, the NAACP website. This is his first meeting and he's already, so listen, I tell everybody there is room at the cross of DFW Metro for you. So I am staying true to my word that we will find a space for you to serve and be active. So thank you so much, Tristan. Thank you so much, Pastor Halton as well.
Madam President, it's my first meeting as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. McGee. And Mr. McGee as well, we're going to work on him. He's not officially a member yet, but he's also going to play a very significant part in our meeting tonight. And so I am super excited. I had the opportunity to meet him on last week. And so thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be our guest and help me out with some things tonight and be a blessing to us.
Come on, First Lady. Let's move on.
So I want to start out one of our first on our schedule for our first speaker tonight. We have Miss Tristan Carpenter. Kristen is the Black Girl Magic Museum manager, a paralegal and abolitionist, a doula student, and a criminal justice major. She started her journey as a doula student after attending the birth of her godson, Alexander, in May of 2020. After having the opportunity to serve her best friend during her labor and birth, Tristan became interested in birth work. Tristan was born and raised in Oklahoma. Her own incarcerated, and she mentioned that Oklahoma is known as the prison capital of the world. Her own incarceration at the age of 19 led to her to dedicate her life to dismantling and abolishing the prison industrial complex and educating self and others on transformative justice. Tristan aspires to be a criminal defense and civil rights attorney. She is passionate about activating her community and empowering Black girls and women of all ages. Her current role as Black Girl Magic Museum manager allows her to do just that. The Black Girl Magic Museum is an interactive and educational experience created by Black women in order to showcase the magic that we all possess. BGMM is an exhibition of art by talented local Black artists and designers, as well as a selfie museum and an event center. Director Dominique Hamilton calls it a Black girls playground, but it's open to everyone who loves us too. So at this point, I will turn it over with no further ado to Ms. Tristan. You're muted.
Hi there. So hi, I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much, Ms. Crystal, or President Crystal. As you mentioned, I'm the manager of the Black Girl Magic Museum. If you guys haven't heard about the museum, definitely I would encourage you to check it out and come visit. We have our first location that was open in Mesquite. That one actually just closed recently. I've had this one open since November of last year, so coming up on a year. And then we had the pleasure of opening another location in Shreveport, Louisiana. That one opened in March of this year, and we recently closed that one as well. Don't worry, guys, if you haven't had the opportunity to come visit yet, we just did sign a 2-year lease at a 7,000 square foot location in Arlington. So our next location is going to be right near the parks. I look forward to hosting you guys. So let me tell you a little bit more about the museum. So it is a selfie museum. If you guys don't know what a selfie museum is, those are the museums with all the props, the backdrops. Ours is special because we have several murals that are all done by local Black artists for you to come take pictures by, in front of, have a good old time. Like I mentioned, or like President Crystal mentioned, my director calls it a Black Girls Playground, but it is open to everybody that loves us, everybody who appreciates us. So I have guests that are everywhere from children, grandmothers, our aunties in between. We have some awesome brand ambassadors that have been able to get involved. And then we also do a lot of community outreach. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen so we can check out some pictures. And all right, so back to my photos. Actually, one moment. One moment. Go back to our NAACP album. All right, y'all. I appreciate your patience. And here we are. I'm gonna go to my photos here. So this is an example of one of my favorite murals at the Black Girl Magic Museum. This here is a mural done by a local Black artist named Josh Bridgewater. He's originally from Louisiana, but he and his family are out here. I wanted to start with this one so you all can get a little bit of an idea when I say what we're really passionate about: empowering Black girls and Black women, educating them, and then also connecting with our community. So from left to right, you can see the mural has Breonna Taylor. And then in the middle is a Tatiana Jefferson, who was actually killed 2 years ago in Fort Worth by a former police officer. And so her case is actually coming up here in Tarrant County soon, but I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a little bit. And then on the right is Miss Sandra Bland. So the Say Her Name mural is to encourage us to not forget the women who have unfortunately gone before us, whether it be from police brutality or other reasons. And then what is not pictured is another quote on the wall, which is from Malcolm X, and it says, "The most disrespected, least protected, and most neglected person in America is the Black woman." And so we wanted to create this room in order to pay our respects, in order to encourage people to say their names and keep their names alive. And then also, it's just an unfortunate part of being a Black girl and Black woman that if you don't advocate for yourself and others, who will? So we do want to encourage people to, yes, have a good time, come take your pictures, but also get active in the community, you know? So just a few other photos so you can get a little mini tour. This is our Mesquite location. This one is another mural by Joshua Bridgewater. This is in our STEM room. We teach our kids about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, because, you know, Black girls, Black women, Black people in general, we are very underrepresented in those fields. And it's not for lack of intelligent people, it's just for lack of access and barriers. So we definitely teach our kids about our Mae Jemisons, our Katherine Johnsons, et cetera, so they know what they can aspire to be. One of my director's missions is all about positive representation. And let me tell you a little bit about my director. Her name is Dominique Hamilton. She actually is from Mississippi originally. And she didn't have a lot of opportunities as a young Black girl. And she had to grow up quickly, being that when she was born to a mom who was, I think, 13. Her mom was about 13 when she had her and her siblings. So she had to grow up very quickly, didn't have a lot of good opportunities, and she never forgot that, which reminds me of one of my favorite quotes by Michelle Obama. She said that when you walk through that door of success, you have to reach back. And so I really commend Director Dominique for reaching back, creating opportunities not only for myself and the other artists that are showcased, but also you know, just creating this opportunity for girls to come feel good, look good, take pictures, and then learn about ourselves. So this here, speaking of that positive representation, this is our Black Girl Magic boxes. You know, everybody wants to be a Barbie, everybody wants to be a doll. So we went ahead and created those. Oh, and they're all created by, like I said, local Black artists. And then structures like these will be built by local Black contractors too. This here is my I Am Not My Hair room. You guys are getting all the sneak peeks today, but this is my Mesquite location that's closed now. Hair is a big topic in the Black community. I love this one. It's modeled after like an old school hair salon. It's got the I am not my hair, I'm not my skin, I'm not your expectations lyrics on the wall, word to India Ari. And of course, we have the different murals by the local Black artists that include our girls and women looking good. And then we even have community partners like ORS. I know you guys have used that olive oil sheen spray that come and do things like give us donations so we can bless the community with, you know, deep conditioner, edge control, all the things so we can stay on fleek. And this is our entrance. The Do You Believe in Magic is a highlight. Masked up, of course, social distancing, but this is like what you see when you first come in. So I love to get everybody excited when we first come in. And then we go down through our tours. So with this is another room. This is an important topic that we talk about, self-care. So you see the Overcomer sign in the background, the meditating ladies on the wall. That's a mural done by Yvette Harvey, one of our local Black artists. And we just wanted to prioritize self-care because you can't pour from an empty cup. And a lot of Black girls, women, whether you're a parent or not, end up handling a lot of responsibility, but you don't want to put yourself in last place. So if you see our yoga mat, we've got our music in there. And then this is another one of my favorite rooms too, because green's my favorite color. This is Divine, a lovely young lady I met at the museum in the I Am Not My Hair room. Just another example of the props and whatnot that you can have a good old time with. And then you see Black Girl Magic Museum. It's not just for Black girls and women, it's for everybody that loves us too, brothers, boyfriends, cousins, children. Here we have my director, Dominique, on the left, addressing some of our guests, letting them know what, who, where, when, and why, because everybody asks, well, how did you come up with this idea? What are you guys gonna do next? And speaking of next, like I said, we've got our Arlington location that's coming up, but we also have locations coming in Houston. I believe Atlanta and Chicago are coming up too. And we have another one of my favorite parts when I say empowering people of all ages. I have a lot of children who are coming in with their parents, and the kids may be biracial or even adopted. And the parents love to have the opportunity to encourage their children and empower them and educate them on this is part of the reason why your culture, your history is important. We are artists, we are the subjects of art, we are entrepreneurs, like my director who started it. So I wanted to include this picture. Love our dads and daughters. It's always great to see dads come in and pour into their young ladies so they know how important that they are. This one, word to Kendrick Lamar, got royalty inside my DNA. You know, we're all Black kings and queens. Another one, hella Black, hella proud, representing Oak Cliff. This is our melanin wall. Another picture in the Say Her Name room. And then you see we've got lots of group photos. I love when people come in for groups, which brings me to another thing that we do in the community. A lot of times my director, she will bless, whether it's like a community organization or a soccer team or a mentorship group, with group tickets and opportunities to come so we can impart into their young ladies and their participants how important that they are, that their Black skin is beautiful, and that they're worth learning about, they're worth being celebrated. And this here is Tiara. She's one of our other staff members, crowning our queens. Got multi-generations. And then I'll go through just a few more pictures. That's my director, Dominique Hamilton, once again, in the I Am Not My Hair room. And if you look on the wall, I love the different murals. You see, we've got a girl with a big, beautiful blue fro, but we also have a girl with no hair because we're beautiful bald, we're beautiful otherwise. Director Dominique, and this is called Not a Moment, but a Movement. You can see Ruby Bridges, Representative Shirley Chisholm, Tamika Mallory, Angela Davis, VP Kamala Harris, and this is also done by Joshua Bridgewater. So it's educational, it's informative, it's fun. We've got props, dances in your DNA. And if you guys look on that back wall, this mural, also by Josh, shows Simone Biles. So we celebrate some of our hometown. And it's for everybody, our little boys too. And then also we celebrate our entrepreneurs, our designers, our authors, and our creators, because we have that facilitates and holds and gives them the opportunity to make some income as well. So the Black Girl Magic Museum is a whole lot of stuff. I hope that you guys would come to visit our next locations. And then I'll go through just a few more pictures. And I just wanted to reiterate what I was talking about before. If you look in the middle of this mural, this is a Tatiana Jefferson. She was shot and killed in her home October 12th, 2019, while she was at home playing video games with her nephew. Her sisters, in fact, have started a program called a Tatiana Project. And part of their mission is to create and perpetuate opportunities for Black kids in STEM. The field we're very underrepresented in, because Tatiana, she was a pre-med student. And if you don't know, only 2% of American doctors are Black women. So your name is your spirit. A lot of us have different names, ethnic names. We want to encourage people to be proud of everything about them, their skin, their hair, their names, what they're called. There's me. Sometimes they ask me to be in the pictures too. But here's me again. So I have the best job in the world. I get to empower women. I get to take pictures with them. I get to make them feel good. And we've done everything from book signings to graduation parties to photo shoots with even Luster's International. I know you guys know what that pink lotion is. We hydrate our hair over here. And then, And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, I know that I briefly mentioned what we are doing in the community, but my director, Dominique Hamilton, is going to be hosting a mental health brunch. And so, like I said, mental health and self-care are very, very important. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free to look that up. We're at Black Girl Magic Museum on Instagram or blackgirlmagicmuseum.com. And there's just some examples of other conferences that we've done. Mended Conference, Coffee, Culture, and Conversations. We have a Representation Matters series right now where we're highlighting local people in the DFW that are doing awesome transformative things. So it's not just a selfie museum, it is a whole lot. And then this is Tiana, one of our brand ambassadors, on point in the middle. And then we also have in the Shreveport location, Shreveport Trios Upward Bound, here with Keandra Lockett, who is a Billboard music artist. So you see, we do a lot. That's in Shreveport as well. Not a moment, it's a movement. Also in Shreveport. Generations of Melanin, graduation pictures. And then this here, you see, we have books by local Black artists as well. Black Girl Magic Museum. There's your favorite manager. We also have participated in, let's say, Juneteenth at Fair Park and also in Mesquite. And then I so appreciate everybody listening to me. I appreciate you guys giving me your attention, checking out and supporting. And then I wanted to wrap up with this. So in the middle, I know I've said her name. I'm going to keep saying her name. Her name is Tatiana Jefferson. She was killed by a Fort Worth police officer in her home for no reason while she was playing video games with her nephew, Zion, who actually is the little boy holding the Black Lives Matter sign in this photo. And these women who are wearing the I Am My Sister's Keeper shirts, those are Tatiana Jefferson sisters. So if you guys want to, I encourage you to support them. They have already done a camp teaching children how to build computers, and they've already done a Tay Day parade in downtown Fort Worth. And the next thing that we need your support for is November 16th is when the pretrial will be starting in Tarrant County for the murder trial for Erin Dean, who was the former Fort Worth police officer who killed her. So you guys check out a Tatiana Project. Please continue to support their family. It's been over 2 years with no justice. And I'm going to continue to use my platform to speak up for them and to advocate for them and every other woman, Black girl who was affected by police brutality, racism, etc. So, and then we also have Jasmine Crockett, who is our representative for District 100. And this was gifted to me by a local Latina artist right there with my director. She did a Melanin Magic series. And yeah, guys, I really, really encourage you guys to come check it out. It could be a book signing, could be a birthday party, could be a community event, but it's definitely worth it. And I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Tristan, for sharing with us. Everybody give Tristan a hand. And if you have any questions for her, if you would drop those in the chat, we will allow one question or comment. if anybody has one question or comment. And otherwise, if you would drop those in the chat, and also Tristan, if you would drop the website address for the museum, that would be great. So thank you. That was awesome. We really appreciate you sharing all of that good stuff. So make sure that you all go check out the Black Girl Magic Museum. So Tristan, please drop that information. And again, we're looking forward to you connecting with our branch and us doing some more exciting things. We embrace our millennials, our Gen Z, and all those other Gen letters that are out there making a difference. We appreciate you all, and they are super excited. So we want to take a moment. Do we have any October birthdays or anniversaries? Please let us know now so we can celebrate you. Unmute your line and let us know. Okay, no October birthdays or anniversaries this month. Dr. Henderson, if I can give you a minute or two to give us some information about our membership campaign and just let people know how they can become a member.
Okay, hold on just a moment here. Switch this up. Okay, becoming a member is easy as 1, 2, 3. You can go through our website. We could go to through our not only website, you can also just log on to our email address, and all of it will take you there. Now, we are sponsoring different opportunities for people to also sign up in person, where you can just point your camera at our QR code, and it takes you directly to the various avenues there. The annual membership for an adult is just $30. For youth under the age of 21 up to 20, like $15. Now, I will go ahead and report out that the national access has not been provided to me at this time. It calls for them to give me the user code as well as the passcode. That hasn't been assigned yet, but I can go ahead and report that we were able to participate in the event there, the services, outdoor services, following the Prairie View and Grambling game at Westside Baptist. And we were able to pick up I believe it was 4 memberships, and we had a donation gifted to the organization as well. Now, as we move forward, we welcome any person of interest to help us move that membership along, and hopefully we will be able to get all of those glitches worked out by our next meeting, and be able to give you a full.
Does not support women for the most part, but its presence in the community.
I'm sorry. That was comments.
I think Ms. Jackson, can you mute? I think could you mute your line, or do you have a question?
Well, I had it muted and it was unmuted, then I muted it back and it unmuted again. So something is not in my control.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. Thank you.
But God is with us at all times. And there was a time when I was conducting a meeting, just a little bit off track, but I did not want any interruption. I said no calls. My phone, I heard the phone start ringing. I picked the phone up before I answered. He said, well, why are you answering it? Well, whoever's calling, well, this better be God, interrupted me in my meeting.
Mhm.
And I said, hello, and it hung up. He said, well, who was it? I said, God hung up on me. So, I take it very serious. So I understand, especially where technology is concerned, it's a beautiful thing, but it can be quite annoying. But
No problem.
That's my summary at this point.
Thank you so much, Dr. Henderson. I was thinking, I know that our national organization, I think now if you become a member, instead of the normal 60-40 or third of the total that we get, I think it's 50%. So that's one important thing that we want to be able to share. And as Dr. Henderson said, please take a picture or use your phone to grab the QR code information. And I just want to remind you all again, we did participate in North Texas Giving, and we did raise $3,670. So we're excited for that, that we were able to do that as well. So with no further ado, we're going to go ahead and move forward because we do have some very important information to share with you all. As you all know, let me say this real quick. We are participating. I could not find the flyer to upload it. You know what? I'll upload it in the chat. We are going to be doing a membership drive next week at the Trunk or Treat with the city of Grapevine at Panther Stadium out in Grapevine. We need candy, y'all. Y'all hear me? We need a whole bunch of candy. We need all the little kids to just fall out. We need all the candy we can get. So they are expecting 600 children, and there will be over 20 or 30 different organizations from the community. I'm so excited that DFW Metro will be one of those organizations. So we will do a membership drive. If you're not a member, you can become a member. You can renew your membership. You can upgrade your memberships right there on the spot. We'll be there. We would love for you to come meet your officers as well. It's always awesome to meet you all. And we do need volunteers. I know everybody in the sound of my voice is already registered to vote, but if not, and if you know someone who needs to register to vote, send them out as well so they can register to vote during that time as well. That information is in your newsletter, and it also is on the Facebook page, and I'll make sure it gets on the website. It's not on the website yet, but I'll make sure to put it on there. So let me go ahead. So I announced that, and I think that was the main thing. And I'm going to drop some information in the chat about the CAP meeting and also about Our Vote, Our Voice. So although I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mr. Brandon Chase McGee. As I said, an election has started. The first day of early voting was yesterday. Everybody needs to go vote, but this is important. There are going to be some amendments on that ballot, and we don't want you to be surprised by the amendments that are there. We want you to know what they're talking about so you can vote in an educated way because you understand and know exactly what you're voting for. So thank you so much to Mr. Brandon Chase McGee and Mr. John Warren and Detrick DeBurr. I'm sorry for helping us out with this tonight and giving us a presentation. So I want to go ahead and introduce our moderator, Mr. Brandon Chase McGee. Although he now resides in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Brandon Chase McGee is originally from Wichita, Kansas. He is a graduate of Collin County Community College and the University of North Texas in Denton, Texas, with degrees and certificates in history, political science, dance, and leadership. Brandon belongs to various leadership boards in the DFW Metroplex and is a member of several activist and political organizations statewide. He has served in several roles with many political campaigns in both Kansas and Texas. Brandon is currently serving on the Texas Democratic Party Senatorial District 12 Executive Committee. Brandon has been a guest speaker on many national issues such as immigration protection, women's rights, and arts funding. He has also enjoyed moderating various candidate forums and debates of all levels of public service. He is currently in the last few classes of his master's at the Texas A&M George Herbert Walker Bush School of Government in Public Policy and Administration. In 2018, Brandon was a Congressional Black Caucus Fellowship Award winner. In 2019, he was awarded a Battleground Texas Fellowship Award. And in 2020, he is a New Leaders Council Award winner. He is currently, a Leadership Den Fellow. Now, before we get started, I want to just reiterate, we are nonpartisan and we do not promote or endorse any candidates. So no one will show any kind of campaign information or share any campaign information tonight. And so with no further ado, I am going to pass it on to Mr. McGee.
Thank you, Madam President, for the invitation to be here. I appreciate the rest of you all. I'm not going to waste any time. I want to get right into it. I'm going to introduce you to the other panelists, and we can go ahead and talk about these amendments, okay? First, we will start with Mr. Warren. So John Warren was elected as county clerk for Dallas County and sworn in January 2007. Prior to his election as county clerk, he was employed with Dallas County for 13 years and has served in various administrative capacities. From 93 to 97, he served as court manager and administrator in the County Court of Law. From 98 to 2006, he served as court administrator and system administrator for Dallas County Civil District Courts. Elected to his fourth term as Dallas County Clerk in 2018, he has an annual operations budget of $11 million and 225 employees in 9 divisions for the clerk's office. Mr. Warren serves on both the Texas Supreme Court Judicial Committee for Information Technology, the Supreme Court Advisory Committee as well. He is chair of the board of directors for the Dallas Central Appraisal District, National Association for Counties Finance Committee. He's an active member of the Texas Association of County Leadership Foundation. And he's a graduate of Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a BA degree in political science. So, Mr. Warren, I want to welcome you and thank you for your participation this evening.
Absolutely, I'm glad to be here.
And Mr. DeBerg. So, Detrick DeBerg currently is a candidate for City Council in the Colony, Texas, Place 2. He served on Planning and Zoning Commission for 7 years and also served on the Planning and Zoning Commission in Cedar Hill prior to that for 8 years. So he also mentors startup businesses on the African continent with the Tony Amelu Foundation. He is a graduate of the Darden University Minority Equity Bootcamp, a program that educates minority business owners to access the private equity capital markets. Mr. DeBerg received Stanford University's Digital Visions Fellowship for his efforts with the Digital Literacy Alliance in Ghana, West Africa. Mr. DeBerg is the author of Building Gamified Websites and Deal Us In, How Black America Can Play and Win in the Digital Economy. He is also an active member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Welcome, Mr. DeBerg.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Okay, so as everybody knows, we have an election coming up, but actually a lot of people don't know because we're not voting for the president, because we're not voting for members of our Texas House and Texas Senate, elections like these largely go unnoticed. So it's important for us, the learned, to get the word out there. There's an election coming up on November 2nd, and early voting is going on right now across the entire state. So let's talk about this. So on your ballot, everybody across the entire state of Texas will see a list of 8 constitutional amendments. So essentially what has happened is that our Texas legislature has approved 8 propositions to change our constitution. So now those have been approved by our elected representatives. Those now will come to the voters. That's us. So we will have to vote these up or down. So again, there are 8. In case anyone is interested, the ballot draw came from our Deputy Secretary of State, as in which order these propositions will appear on the ballot. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So proposition number 1, I'm going to read to you what it says. The constitutional amendment, it's a constitutional amendment authorizing the Professional Sports Teams Charitable Foundation organization sanctioned by the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association or the Women's Professional Rodeo Association to conduct charitable raffles at rodeo venues. Mr. Warren, what do you think about this?
That's actually, it's a good amendment. It actually only provides the same benefits to the rodeo associations that other professional organizations have, such as football and basketball or baseball. I think it's good for everyone to know that the money that they collect in those charitable foundations actually go to charities. and the majority of those are either, from what last I saw, it was helping children with needs, as well as battered women and other organizations such as those. So that's a good amendment, and it's only given the Rodeo Association the authority that the other sports organizations already have.
So we know that, Mr. Warren, we know that a lot of Black folks have charitable foundations, nonprofit organizations. Would this maybe be an opportunity for some of those organizations to partner with these rodeo associations to conduct these at rodeo events?
Yeah, if the Rodeo Association wants to partner with them, yes, I would agree with that. But also,
Wonderful.
I mean, it'll also give you it, and as long as it stays within the perimeters of charitable foundations, it could be possible if we had the Black organizations. I'd say, if we had the level of contributions that these organizations had, then it could be that we take the sports out of it and just make it charitable organizations.
Love it.
So this is actually kind of, if we ever had the ability to go there, this would actually be the pathway to that.
What I was going to say, I'm very intimate with this one. It was 6 years ago that, well, prior to 6 years ago in the state of Texas, you could not participate in 50-50 raffles is pretty much what we're talking about. And that's basically where you go to the game, you buy a ticket, and half the money is split and goes to the charitable organization. And actually, and the reason I am so intimate with it, because I was helping a business to raise money that was helping those charities to raise money because they couldn't raise money at the games. So anyway, to make a long story short, this is just basically cleanup as far as I'm concerned. The rodeos just got left out. And so the NFL, the NBA spent a lot of money 6 or 7 years ago to make sure that 50-50 raffles, which if you go to other states for the most part, are generally accepted and can be done. But if you take the Dallas Stars hockey team, for example, right? Dallas Stars hockey team would go to Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation could raise money and do all. However, when Pittsburgh came to Dallas, they couldn't do any of that. And it was simply a function of those raffles were treated as gambling, obviously. And so this is just a fix as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I love it. And just to put this, of course, we are here with the NAACP. We want to reiterate that the NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. None of us are here on behalf of any particular political party. We're also not here on behalf of any particular political campaign. We're all just a couple of men who do some stuff in our communities. We want to make sure that our communities get the best benefit from these propositions going forward. So with that being said, let's move on to Proposition 2, gentlemen, if you don't mind. So it says, it's a constitutional amendment authorizing a county to finance the development or redevelopment of transportation or infrastructure in developed or blighted areas of the county. Mr. DeBurr, what say you?
Yeah, well, first of all, and it's really opinion. First of all, well, cities can do this already, right? So we're not talking about what the cities can do to finance development. What we're really talking about is what counties can do. And for the most part, I kind of sort of like this one, and let me tell you why. Because especially when it comes to the larger cities, Dallas and Austin and Houston, right? And many of the outlying cities, so to speak, like I live in the colony, right? A lot of the development that we're doing pretty much, sometimes those projects are bigger than what a city can manage and handle, right? And I'll just use the colony as an example, right? Pretty much if you're gonna fix a road in the colony and don't fix the road in Little Elm, you haven't fixed the problem. Or if you fix a road in Little Elm in the colony, but don't fix the road in Frisco, you still have a problem. So when I think about projects like that, it might make sense for Denton County, right? Which could handle that project, right? They might be better off to manage those types of things. Keeping in mind, though, I like it only in those areas where we see this kind of very contiguous cities, right? And they're growing. So they're going to need the construction. They're going to need these creative ways to finance things. And right now, the counties simply don't have the ability. So what, in essence, what you would end up doing is the colony would have to finance a portion, Little Elm would have to finance a portion, and Frisco would have to finance a portion, right? all to get to basically the same road fixed, okay, just in different areas of the city. And so what I'm saying is it might make sense to say, punt this one up to a larger entity. But that's just my opinion. And I could also see some other sides of where that wouldn't make sense too. So.
All right, Mr. Warren, what do you think?
Okay, so that everyone understands, the county is responsible for unincorporated areas of the county. Dallas County has 32 cities. And so each county commissioner has a road and bridge district that's responsible for maintaining or building or creating roads in those unincorporated areas. And so and in order to do that, roads cost money. And so you would either have to raise taxes or you do the bonds so that you don't have to raise taxes. And that gives you the ability to make the progress that you need in your communities, but also without levying a heavy tax burden on the citizens. Perfect example is some of you may be familiar with Lancaster High School. In order to build Lancaster High School, they needed a road in order to get to that area. That was an unincorporated area. That's when Dallas County came in, Commissioner Price's district, built the road that gave access to the area so that they can actually build Lancaster High School. So the money that's used is for the unincorporated areas where let me also add this. Once that area has been developed, it becomes the responsibility of the city. It's no longer the county's responsibility. I want to make sure we add that. And so in Dallas County, Commissioner Price has the largest unincorporated area. And so the majority of the funds are in his district. I think Commissioner Garcia also has some unincorporated areas. But if you look at District 1 and 2, they have very little unincorporated areas because all those cities, Garland, Richardson, all those areas, they've already been built out. So you don't see any vacant areas. And so they use that money to also do other repairs as it relates to the county roads in those areas. And so that's the purpose of this, is to allow those counties, and actually Dallas County, urban counties really wouldn't have this issue. It's more so for the counties with a population under 250,000 or so. And those are the ones that desperately need it.
In a time where nationally we are focused on infrastructure, it seems like, as was mentioned earlier, this is kind of cleanup, making sure that some of our rural counties can get ahead of the city growth.
Yes.
Allow for build out, right?
That's correct.
Okay, good. All right. Let's move on to proposition.
A financing mechanism that's pretty much already available to the cities is because we have financing mechanisms already. Counties just don't have access to this. So it would be giving them a tool that the cities already have.
That's correct. So that we don't have to rely on taxes. And because the counties, it's ad valorem taxes, property taxes, that's all we have. And so this gives us another mechanism so that, like I was said, and that Mr. Burr saying, we don't have to worry about raising taxes and having an undue burden on the citizens.
I love it. Okay. Let's jump to Proposition 3, okay? It says, the constitutional amendment to prohibit this state or political subdivision of this state from prohibiting or limiting religious services of religious organizations. All right, Mr. DeBurr, why is this bad?
Well, I mean, I'll just give my opinion because that's what it is. First of all, my understanding, this came out of the COVID restrictions that were put on cities and basically trying to limit people in buildings. And so we understood that. My concern is if this passes, now we have just pigeonholed a government entity and not, in governing the number of people who can be in a building. And I want to, you notice I'm not talking anything about religious at all, right? My point is the fire department can manage that now, right? You can't have as many people as you want in your church. You just can't do that. The fire marshal can say no to that. So my point is, so we already have a practical rationale for this, okay? And with that said, my understanding is that at any point in time, the governor could declare religious services, essential services, for example, and then modify those rules as needed to be. So I don't know how, in my opinion, why this needs to be constitutionally mandated, because from what I understand, many of the religious institutions already have recourse, already have things that they can, steps that they can take. So locking this into a constitution, a constitutional amendment, I think might be going a little bit too far as far as I'm concerned. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Warren, you agree?
I totally agree. But here's what's so interesting about Proposition 3. It is very subtle, and it was worded extremely well to hide the issue or to hide the true intent. It's actually fixing a problem that does not exist. Mr. DeBurr is absolutely right. What this bill does, what this amendment does, it further empowers the fire marshal and anyone else to, and I'll just put it the way it is, it gives them the power and the authority to reduce or do away with Super Sunday. Because you have Friendship West, all of the Black mega churches. So you have members that's coming there to vote, and then you also have people from the community that are coming there to vote, and you have busloads of individuals. And so they said, nope, we're not going to do that. What Proposition 3 does, it restricts and limits our ability to actually exercise our right to vote. So in my opinion, it does not say it, but this is an absolute no. Why fix a problem that does not exist?
Listen, I know I'm just shepherding you gentlemen through, but I need to understand this. I'm just a layman. I'm just a truck driver. So it sounds like you could have situations where gatherings of religious organizations in a time of pandemic such as this could result in super spreader events.
Yes.
So we want to allow for local control, which is important to us, prohibiting, but possibly banning super spreader events. Is that what I'm understanding?
In my opinion, yes. Yeah.
But the fire marshal, like I said, could ban them, could stop it now because it's a fire hazard.
Sure.
Today.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Well, let me also add, anytime you're building a facility or a structure, there is, and it's required under the city ordinance, a cap on the number of people that can be inside that facility. That's the foundation of what this actually supports.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
So why constitutionally mess with that? I guess is the oversimplified.
I agree.
The question I have.
Okay, let's move to Proposition 4, if you don't mind. So this is an amendment changing the eligibility requirements for a justice of the Supreme Court, a judge of the Court of Criminal Appeals, or a justice of the Court of Appeals, or a district judge. So what do you think, Mr. Warren?
Did he freeze? I'm not sure if he froze.
I think he froze, but there's a question also on the last proposition, I believe.
Okay. Am I frozen?
Okay,
you're back now.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to change locations.
Okay, I see that question. It says, should we vote for Prop 2? So let's get through all the amendments, and what we'll do, we'll come back at the end, and I will ask these gentlemen for a thumbs up, thumbs down. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll do it like that. Mr. Warren, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm changing rooms.
Okay. While you're changing room, yeah, this is an amendment. This is basically says we're going to change the LGBT requirements for judges.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm back. This like Proposition 3, it's actually resolving an issue that does not exist. If you look at each one of these judicial seats, the Court of Appeals, the Court of Criminal Appeals, and the justice of the Court of Criminal Appeals and a district judge, you have a lot of individuals who want to run, but if you actually, you have to have qualifications to be a judge. One, you got to be a lawyer. One, and you also have to have trial experience at several levels of the judicial system. But what they're wanting is to make it where that the amount of the qualifications to actually serve is actually tripled, so that it limits and restricts the number of individuals who can actually run for a judicial office. Understand that there is, and to a degree, yeah, it can make sense as it relates to an appeal. You have the the justice of the peace courts. Those cases are appealed to the county courts at law and the county criminal courts. You have the county and district courts at the local level that are appealed to the Fifth Court of Appeals. In Dallas, it's the Fifth Court of Appeals. And then from there, you go to Austin to either where it's the Court of Criminal Appeals or the Texas Supreme Court. And I understand that the Supreme Court and those higher judicial offices, they may not want to hear some cases, but at the same time, you may have individuals. Mr. DeBurr is a lawyer whose practice, he's done a lot of work with individuals in low-income areas, and that's pretty much been his experience. And so Mr. DeBurr now wants to serve on the Court of Appeals or the Court of Criminal Appeals because he understands the needs of those individuals, and that actually gives those individuals a voice at the higher court level. That's what Mr. DeBurr would bring. By restricting the number of years or increasing the number of years that he would have to have, that means that there are a lot of individuals who would not have access to real justice because certain individuals on those high courts will not understand the plight that they may have. Yeah. Also, and I will add that there's a committee. It's called the Committee for a Qualified Judiciary. I'm not quite sure to what degree they would be able to support Proposition 4, or how they would actually feel about Proposition 4. What I referenced earlier about an attorney being able to, or as it relates to an appeal, if you think a judge isn't fair, then you have that opportunity, and I can see where that would be. That would make Proposition 4 make sense. But other than that, Proposition 4 does not make sense.
So my understanding, you're saying 3, just like 4, is not needed. It's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary.
Actually, I think the point that if you wanted to look at a 4, it would be to ensure that you have more experienced judges. However, my personal concern is that the population, the demographics are changing in the state of Texas. And the last thing I want to do is limit the number of people who can run. So if someone is not qualified, I think the voters will handle that at the ballot box. They can look at the person's qualifications and they can make that decision. I wouldn't want to constitutionalize or basically make an already high bar higher, right? Because what I think it will negatively impact, especially minority attorneys in particular, or people who recently moved to Texas. Because if I'm not mistaken, not only do they're bumping it up by 8 and 10 years respectively, they have to be in Texas. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case currently. My point is, you may have a sharp attorney that's in Oklahoma or Louisiana and bring some experience. And my point is that I don't think they should be held to any higher qualification just to run. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
To your point, Mr. DeBurr, what essentially one of the changes that it would take place is that candidates for these judgeships would have to have 10 years experience in Texas as a practicing lawyer.
And that's not the case today.
Yeah. Essentially, what we've done is that we've taken the population of Oklahoma and we've dropped it into Texas the last 10 years. So you're right, it's going to disqualify a lot of people. My apologies, Mr. Warren, go ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to say, you and I were talking earlier about that 4 million people who moved to Texas, according to the 2020 census, from those other Democratic states, if you will. Simply, we're not talking party lines, however, but that just happens to be a fact. And so now you have all those individuals, and just think about how many lawyers are also moving. I talked earlier about the Austin, Travis County area becoming the new Simi Valley, and of course, there's going to be a lot of activity there. And so this kind of restricts not just those individuals in Texas, but also those individuals who I believe is part of that 4 million growth from the 2020 census.
That migration, and just to add a little color to this, that's not going to change. That was 4 million over the last 10 years. Expect that trend to continue. So there's a migration back. And if you look at the 90%, over 90% of those are Hispanic, Black, Brown, Asian people. And so in essence, what we really will be talking about is basically saying that if there's a sharp African-American attorney or whatever, and let's say he came up in Chicago and he has 4 or 5 years of experience when he decides to move to Texas, he would not be able to run for any one of these positions, period. And I don't think to constitutionalize that is the place to govern qualifications. That's what voters are for.
Absolutely. We want to let the people decide. Very well. Okay.
Just my opinion.
So let's jump to 5 if you don't mind. All right.
Okay,
So
I'm
5
sorry.
is the constitutional amendment providing additional powers to the State Commission on Judicial Conduct with respect to candidates for judicial office. Mr. Warren, what do you think?
That's actually a good one. We have well, it can actually swing both ways, but this is something that I would support. Not all judges are good judges, but I mean, there should be regulations as it relates to what a judge does or should not do. One thing's for certain, the law does not allow a judge to legislate from the bench. Basically, what that means is that if a judge disagrees with the law, he cannot say, "Well, I don't think that would apply in this instance." And so, but the law does not allow him to do that. It's the judge's responsibility to make sure that the law is applied. That's the only purpose a judge serves as it relates to a trial or a hearing. It's the litigants who actually present the evidence, and the judge makes sure the law is applied. Sometimes that is not always the case.
Mr. Burr?
Yeah, this is one of those, it's like it's a tightrope situation for me. I can see both sides of it. I'm leaning a little bit against it. I mean, my point is, this is one that I'm with it either way. And I'll tell you what my apprehension is. My apprehension is that now we are looking at candidates, okay? And I'm going to be adamant about not doing anything to prohibit people from running. So that's my concern. So I wouldn't want a case in point. If a person is going to run for judge, and I want them campaigning, I don't want them fighting complaints all day. I want them running and letting the voters decide one way or the other if this person is actually qualified. Now, with that said, I get it. I understand. And also just giving them already more the power, to govern these people running, to address those complaints and issues. With that said, I think we have other mechanisms for that too, though. I mean, my point is there's the Bar Association. There, you know what I mean? There's the Election Ethics Commission. So my point is that if somebody's messing up, we have some tools in place to slap them on the hand. I don't know if giving this group is going to, really help or hurt that much. But I'm okay with it. I don't think it's a power they shouldn't have. So.
Well, and I would agree with Mr. DeBurr, and it's interesting because we looked at that from two different perspectives. I looked at it from a perspective of someone who has been elected, and he looked at it from a perspective of somebody who may be considering running for a judicial bench. But he's absolutely right, and I'm right on those instances. But he's also right because there's the if you have an issue with a lawyer, you have the Judicial Ethics Commission you have the Judicial Ethics Commission that you can file a complaint with. I'm sorry, if you were a judge. If you're an attorney, you have that same capability with the commission in Austin that you can report attorney who's doing unethical things. But again, that's not something that should be done at this level.
So I understand what both of you gentlemen are saying. Just so I'm clear, essentially, what this proposition says is that it allows the Texas State Commission on Judicial Conduct to have to investigate reports and complaints against candidates running for office before they're even elected. Is that correct?
Yep.
That is correct. And my position on that is if I understand you should be, governing judges because they have the job. I'm not so sure if I want, to give you the ability to judge people that even, not judge, I'm sorry, you understand what I'm saying, to even police people that don't even have the job yet. That's, I'm like.
To your point, we have voters for that, correct?
That's, well, I'm always gonna yield to, if the people can fix this problem, then keep it out of some codified piece of paper that we got to go down to Austin and fix every other.
Okay. And just to add to that, that's actually a waste of resources, because I mean, I run for a judicial bench. I'm a bad actor, and so you're going to have the Judicial Committee on the Commission on Judicial Conduct investigating me while I'm a candidate, and that's a waste of resources, because if I lose, because as Mr. DeBurr said, if the citizens are already taking care of that, you've wasted man hours I mean, you wasted man hours, and if you actually calculate that into billable hours, you've wasted thousands and thousands of dollars on something that's irrelevant.
Okay.
And one last thing, my concern might be, and like I said, I'm not. This is not a definite, but anything that can be used as a weapon,
specific,
toward a candidate,
against
it. Well, it's a case of it has pros and cons. It has pros and cons, and so I want to be clear about what the pros are and what the cons are. Now, personally, I would vote against it, but I understand someone voting for it. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, but my position is, I don't do anything that's going to that the voters could address at the ballot box. But that's just me.
Again, gentlemen, I appreciate that. And like I said, real quick at the end, what we're doing, we're going to go back. We're going to give a thumbs up for each of these amendments. Okay. I'll try to push to get through these last three in just a couple minutes. Okay. So we're going to go to Prop 6, which is a constitutional amendment establishing a right for residents of certain facilities to designate an essential caregiver for in-person visitation. Mr. Warren, what say you?
That is absolutely necessary. If you look at the pandemic, you had all these people who in nursing homes and assisted living who are maybe on hospice, and they were there, and they're basically dying all alone. And so this actually gives them, say, nope, I want this individual. I want my son. I want my daughter. I want my husband or whomever. I want this person there. I want this person there to be able to come and spend that time with me. And that's pretty much cut and dry. This is an absolute.
Mr. DeBurr?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think a person who is, dealing with health issues or whatever has every right to designate someone as a primary caregiver, whether it be a spouse or a son or a daughter or whatever. They should have the right to do that.
But also, if I would add, it also gives them the right to check on to make sure that those individuals who are residents of these facilities or institutions, it gives them the ability to check to make sure that they're being treated and cared for as well.
Great point.
Okay. All right, we got that one. Let's jump to Prop 7. So Prop 7 is in the weeds a little bit. So Mr. DeBurr, this is coming to you, okay? I'm gonna need some help understanding this. So constitutional amendment allowing the surviving spouse of a person who is disabled to receive a limitation on the school district ad valorem taxes on the spouse's residence homestead if the spouse is 55 years of age or older at the time of the person's death. What does this even mean?
Right. Basically, we have tax benefits, basically, for people who are disabled or seniors, right? And so we, in essence, give property tax breaks, to make a long story short, okay? And the question is, if this person is married and that person, the person who has a right to that tax break, right, passes, should the living spouse still get that same right? Okay, this constitutional amendment says they should. And some people would argue, but this is a healthy bodied person, that's perfectly fine, and they shouldn't get the same tax benefit. My personal opinion is that a marital unit is one unit. It's seen as a corporate entity as far as I'm concerned, right? And we should treat it as such. So just because if the benefit has been brought to this husband and wife, right, and it's earned, case in point, if regardless of how it was earned, once it has been earned, then it should be earned whether one of those people are, passes or not. That's my opinion. Now, people would argue that, well, that's going to be some tax revenue that some cities would lose, but I think that's going to be relatively small, quite honestly, in my opinion. So I personally like this one. I like keeping the benefit. In essence, if I have, I'll do this in a positive way, okay? If I've earned a benefit and my spouse has a right to it, if I pass away, my spouse should still have a right to it, okay? So I'm trying to give you a principle that I'm using here for my thought process, okay? And so in this case, it would be a person that was disabled, and that's how the benefit came. I'm saying if that person is no longer living, then their spouse should get that same benefit.
Mr. Warren, you agree?
I absolutely agree. But one of the things that everyone should understand, the largest percentage of your taxes, ad valorem taxes, are go to school districts. Given that we now have 4 million new citizens in Dallas County, what's going to be the population of, or how many of those individuals will be enrolling in schools? And so with that, the schools are outgrowing each other. I mean, the schools are being overwhelmed to a degree, and so they have to build or they have to add new facilities, and so that has an impact on it. And so that's why the tax rate for school districts go up higher than anyone else, whether the city or the county. Also, just a nugget, anyone could end up falling, any one of us, I'll say, could end up falling in this situation by becoming or our spouse becoming disabled. Also, if you are the spouse of a disabled individual, your spouse, this disabled person, is most likely also receiving disability benefits. And so if that person dies, that means that there is an income. I mean, the majority of us, we are two income houses, we are two income families. And so if we lose those disability benefits, then you have one individual who's still trying to maintain that household for something that they have, like Mr. Burgess said, something that they're already having. Even though it says at age 55, but that gives you relief because most people are trying to exit, they're trying to do less at 55 and older than if they were at a younger age. So this actually benefits the individual. Mm-hmm.
So we have a $10,000 homestead tax exemption, correct?
Yes.
So essentially, if a disabled spouse passes, that exemption would also be allowed to be passed to the surviving spouse. Is that correct? Provided they are over 55.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I got it. Okay.
Hey, but also I would add that in Dallas County at 65 you do that anyway. So only thing this doing is adding a 10-year life to what already exists.
Well, I'll just take a personal point of privilege and remind us all that, as you said, Mr. Warren, it is super important for us to be conscious of what is happening to our differently abled brothers and sisters, because I promise you, all of us are one way from being a member of that community.
You're absolutely right.
So let's go with the last proposition, and then we'll do thumbs up, thumbs down on all of them, and we'll be done, okay? So Proposition 8 is a constitutional amendment authorizing the legislature to provide for an exemption from the ad valorem taxation of all or part of the market value of the resident's homestead if the surviving spouse, a member of the armed services or United States, who is killed or fatally injured in the line of duty. This seems similar to the other one. So, Mr. Warren, what do you think?
Absolutely, yes. I agree. Nothing else to be said. I strongly support this amendment. This proposition.
Right, exactly. I agree 100%. And I'm using the same logic that I had on the previous one. Pretty
exactly.
Much. The only thing the minor shift in the language is line of duty. So, for example, the person is in the military and and he's not in war, right? But he falls down the stairs, at his apartment and passes away, right? Should he still get the same benefits as someone who was in an active fighting situation, right? And I'm saying yes, right? I'm saying yes. And so I'm using the same rationale though, right? For this proposition that I used for the previous one. I see a marital unit as a unit and one unit. So once that benefit has been earned, hence that tax incentive, I think it should be kept.
Okay. All right. So, gentlemen, quickly, let's just go down the list. I want you to give me thumbs up, thumbs down on these propositions. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
Proposition number 1, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
Yep. 1.
Okay, let's make sure everybody's taking notes so we can not only remember ourselves, but also tell our friends and families how to do this, okay? So, Proposition 2.
I see 2 was, remind me.
Wait, that is the Constitutional Amendment authorizing the county to finance the development and undeveloped. So that's a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
2 is a thumbs up as well.
Okay. Prop 3. This is limiting religious services.
Thumbs down.
This is the Burger 2?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you see me? Thumbs down.
Okay. All right. All right. Prop 4, changing the eligibility requirements for judges.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down on that one.
Both of us,
okay.
Thumbs down.
Okay.
All right. Prop 5. This is allowing the judicial conduct review to be able to check out candidates.
Me, I think that's a waste of resources.
Yeah, I'm a
I
thumbs
would
down.
say
I'm a thumbs down
down.
on that one.
Yeah.
So this is that tough one.
Yeah, I mean, because you could, 61 and half a dozen the other, but I'm gonna say no. If there's not a reason to do it, then don't. That's all. Let me put it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a thumbs down. All right, let's jump to 6. This is a caregiver for in-person visitation. Folks be able to choose their own caregiver.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. All right. Let's go to Prop 7. This is the homestead exemption being passed to the surviving spouse.
I'm saying
Thumbs up.
And 8, essentially the same thing. A member of the military.
I'm saying thumbs up too.
Right. Thumbs up. Okay.
Yes.
So we have 8 amendments. So what I'm getting is that Amendment 1 and 2 we have thumbs up. 3, 4, and 5 were thumbs down. And thumbs 6 down. And 7 we are thumbs up. Is that correct?
That's correct. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
gentlemen,
8.
I appreciate you all for this discussion. I feel like I understand now what we need to do when we go into the ballot box. And just to remind everyone to make sure we go and vote. Early voting is going on right now. Election day, of course, on November 2nd. And a personal point of privilege, these elections are important. They might not seem important, but we have elections coming up next year. So as candidates are getting ready to run for office for a myriad of offices all around the states, we want to make sure and give these candidates the best voter information possible. So when you show up to vote, there will be a record of you voting. So when folks are getting ready to run for office, they will then know, hey, this person is a reliable voter because they showed up on November 2nd, 2021. So they're going to come to you first. So we will have an intimate and important responsibility in choosing the folks who will be the candidates on the ballot next year. So let's make sure we show up and vote like our life depends on it, because in 2021 in these COVID times, it absolutely does. So with that, Madam President, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, gentlemen, for helping me understand these.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our speakers, to our moderator, Mr. McGee, and our speakers, Mr. DeBurr and Mr. Warren. I appreciate you all. Very, very, very good information. I'm excited. That's what we set out to do with DFW Metro NAACP, make sure we're advocates and informative for our community. I thought this was very important with these amendments on the ballot. And we want everybody to be able to go into your polling place with confidence and some bass in your chest, in your voice to vote and know exactly what you're voting for. And again, make sure you on your Facebook and social media platforms, or either with your family and friends, whether that's via a text message or a phone call, to let them know your thoughts and what you learned tonight, so that they can make an educated decision as well when they get to the polls. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, thank you again to Tristan, and to each and every one of you. Now, our speakers, I need everybody to go into the chat and tell our speakers, all of them, what they need to do. They need to go to DFW Metro NAACP and become a member when? Today, tonight. So let them know that they need to do that. And we look forward to you all connecting with everything that we're doing with DFW Metro NAACP. So we're going to go through real quick and go ahead and end. But we usually start our meetings with a Black History moment in the first 5 minutes. We invite any of you, anybody that wants to be a Black History presenter, they're welcome to do that. So if any of you are interested in doing so, please let us know, because we need another speaker for next month. And then if you did not get the email and you have already gone to dfwmetro.naacp.org and opted in for our emails and you didn't see it, it's hiding from you. It's hiding in the spam box. So check out your spam box. Again, if you're not already connected and getting our newsletters, make sure you opt in at dfwmetro.naacp.org. Thank you, thank you, thank you to our officers, to our leadership team, and to our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful members and community. You all have an amazing day. Check and then connect with us on Facebook, because I often drop information on there, and then there'll be information about our next meeting. You all have a blessed and amazing day. If anybody has any questions or comments that they'd like to pose to our speakers, but our meeting is formally we're going to conclude and adjourn our meeting formally at 7:21. Thank you all. Have a blessed and amazing day. And if you all, does anybody have any questions or comments for our speakers? Awesome. Well, you all
Madam
have
President,
a blessed day.
I
Absolutely.
see a question in the chat from Mr. Warren wanting a link.
Okay.
I was basically asking you wanted to money for the candy drive for is it next week or 2 weeks? And so if I'm not quite sure if you have the ability to make online payments or online contributions, but I'd like to do that.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Tell me, I'm dropping a link, DFW Metro. See if it can't see that link that I just dropped. There should be a Zelle and a Venmo link on that site. And when you make the donation, make sure you say it's for the candy.
Okay.
And then you have my contact information. If you need me to pick up something, let us know. But you can donate to that at that link as well.
Okay. I don't have Zelle or Venmo. I'm a PayPal person, but I'll make sure that you get it.
Oh, you know what? You can go to Madam Treasurer. I think there's a link on our website for the memberships that you can do a PayPal payment. But I'll connect you with our treasurer. She'll make sure to contact you to give you the information.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, you're muted, Mr. McGee.
I echo that, me as well. I'm a PayPal or Cash App,
okay.
Old-fashioned check kind of guy. I don't do those, so me too, please.
Okay, sounds great. We'll make sure to give you all the information. Okay, you all have a blessed and amazing evening. Thank you all so much.